What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Today I have Danny from HPB, High Performance Blockchain. So if any of you aren't exactly familiar with it, today is going to be a great opportunity to learn something. And Danny, for everyone out there, maybe you can just kind of explain who you are in relationship to High Performance Blockchain?
Sure. So first of all, thank you for having me here. Hi all. My name is Danny Rochandel. I'm the Business Development Director at High Performance Blockchain. I focus on growing our ecosystem by establishing new strategic partnerships. And prior to joining HPB, I've worked for ICBC, China's biggest state-owned bank, and H&A Technology, an investment conglomerate focusing on AI and IT services.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. So obviously everybody might be wondering where's the HPB team? Well, the truth is we wanted to get Xiaoming Wang on the channel, but no one speaks English. So we tried to set up something, it didn't quite work. So we have Danny, which is just as good in my opinion. So I mean, Danny, if you mind real quick, what was it that drew you to high performance blockchain? What was it about it that really, made you want to go, align yourself with these guys?
Sure. Well, I think HPB really is different from other blockchain projects. And I think what makes it truly unique is that it has a hardware component connected to the traditional software component that other blockchain projects have.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I consider to be a really interesting factor about it as well. So, I mean, just kind of what were some of the issues? I mean, most people on my channel know high performance blockchain, but for those that don't know, what exactly is it and what are those problems that you guys originally saw that, you said to yourself, we're going to have to combine hardware and software to really get the job done?
Correct. So with our platform, we basically aim to address the performance requirements of distributed and decentralized applications. So you can think of an IoT ecosystem, which basically should meet the real world business needs of reducing network congestion on one hand and confirmation times. And basically our platform will have a very intuitive design and will include software features such as user accounts, identity, authorization management, policy management, databases, and asynchronous communication. Putting it in more simple terms, basically most projects at this moment have weak TPS performance. So if you look at public chains such as Bitcoin and Ethereum, they offer less than 25 TPS. And these platforms have introduced solutions such as the Lightning and sharding, but well, they have still not managed to successfully implement those features. And even those solutions, they do not fully address this issue. Secondly, poor security. So for example, Ethereum has experienced multiple security breaches and community splits can actually cause hard forks. And thirdly, which is a very big problem, I think, is the high transaction fees as a result of congested networks. So all these problems make it challenging to develop optimized decentralized apps for existing blockchain networks. So HPB actually looked at the growth of the internet industry, for example, and we've carefully observed this. We saw technological breakthroughs came from better performing hardware, in addition to building a network of servers around the world. And we were inspired by this idea, and we felt that this is also a way to solve the network congestion issues that we see in today's blockchain industry.
So, Danny, how far along are you guys on this process as far as your software and hardware go?
So I think from the software end, we are almost ready. So our mainnet is going to be launched by the end of August. And our hardware component is also ready. So it's fully developed. And we have actually published the layout. And we have recently had a big event actually showcasing the hardware. We're currently in a phase that we are doing kind of debugging and a final quality control of the hardware component and making sure that it links together with the software component.
These hardware components, you're manufacturing them specifically for your use cases? They're tailored for high performance blockchain?
Correct. They are manufactured by our team.
All right, awesome. Yeah, I saw you guys had that thing the other day where there was a presentation and you were kind of showing it off and everything like that. So that's a good thing too, because I remember some people were wondering about the mainnet being pushed back, but that was a delay because of the hardware, right?
That is correct.
Okay. All right, cool. No, that's awesome, definitely. So, do you guys have anyone lined up? I mean, are you in talks with businesses? Have you made any connections with enterprises that are looking to utilize your software and hardware?
Sure. So, for example, one of the big partnerships that we have is with UnionPay. And for those people who are not familiar with UnionPay, it is actually China's answer to Visa and MasterCard. So it actually operates at a scale of 4 to 5 times the global size of these two companies. And we're currently working together with UnionPay Smart, which is the big data team at UnionPay, which focuses on big data research and applications. And we're helping them to develop a customized solution for their internal big data needs.
And what about any of the blockchains that we talk about all day in crypto? You know, I know you guys are pretty close with Neo and a lot of these other blockchains. Are they looking to utilize your services as well?
Sure. So Neo is actually an angel investor into our project. So they helped HPB grow to where it is now. So our platform will also support Neo virtual machines. So the Neo platform can be connected to the HPB network. So our hardware board can also support the Neo platform. And we're still discussing with Neo to what extent we will actually work with their platform. So
Okay.
we're in very close discussions with them. And our CEO, Wang Xiaoming, and Neo CEO, Da Hongfei, they have a very close relationship.
Yeah, definitely. So the Union Pay partnership is huge. I remember that was something that you guys mentioned a while ago. That's pretty massive. But what about recently? Have you guys secured any other partnerships, or is there anything new kind of in the pipeline?
Yeah, so just recently, 1 or 2 weeks ago, we've closed a deal with Oasis, which is a global game developer and publisher based in Hong Kong. They will build a decentralized app on the HPB infrastructure. We also work with academic institutions. So together with Tsinghua University, which is China's top technical university, we have set up a fund dedicated to research and fostering blockchain talents. We will also cooperate with the International Finance Corporation, the IFC, of the World Bank Group, and we have officially become a global member of the SME Finance Forum. Besides that, we're also working in Thailand. So we're setting up a incubation space in Thailand as well. So there are a lot of exciting things that we're working on, and there are also some other things in the pipeline, which we will announce relatively soon.
Yeah. I mean, I see you guys have been busy. I try to check as frequently as I can, but there's so much news, so much projects, so many things going on. But I always try to make sure I keep an eye on what you guys are doing as well. I know one of the things recently that was pretty exciting news was your master nodes plan. Do you want to kind of just give a brief overview of what that is in case people are interested?
Sure, sure. So the vision of HPB is basically to create a decentralized blockchain infrastructure and to ensure a fair consensus algorithm mechanism. So we want to ensure decentralization by implementing a dual election mechanism, which divides our BOE hardware node deployment into two different categories. So 70% will be allocated to voting, and the other 30% is allocated to invitations and the HPB Foundation. So our election works similarly as how other projects have set it up through proof of stake. However, we also take more metrics into consideration besides staking of coins. So we also take into consideration your network speed, your location, etc. So for the full set of requirements, you can look at our node plan on our website. The invitations, they aim to focus at NGOs, research institutes, and selected decentralized apps deploying on the HPB network. And only those who have the actual hardware are eligible to maintain the network. So the total number of nodes is expected to be 150, with a total of 31 so-called high performance nodes. There are basically two types of nodes. So we have the high performance nodes on the one hand, and we have the contributing nodes on the other hand. And the main difference between both of these nodes is their performance and the amount of block rewards they receive after generating a block. So every contributing node has the potential to be elected as a high performance node if they meet the minimum performance requirements. Again, for specific details on the rewards and the requirements, we have outlined this on the node plan on our website. So our node plan application just recently closed on August 1st. And the community can now vote for who will actually be the master node holder. So in the future, we will have a new round of node applications in order to expand our network by adding additional BOE nodes.
Okay, now are these things that the average everyday person would be able to participate in, or would it just be too costly for the average day user?
All right, good question. So actually, I think for an average person, it's quite hard to be a BOE node holder because there are quite substantial requirements in terms of network speed and having the servers ready to actually be able to participate in a network.
Okay. So as far as the average investor goes, what would really incentivize them to, hold the HPB token, or essentially what's the main function of the utility of this token?
Sure. So I think with any platform token, so being it NEO or being it HPB or Ethereum, you have to look at the use cases attached to the platform. So I always explain our platform as being iOS or Android, and other developers come in and develop their applications based on our network. So ultimately, user adoption is going to drive the value of our platform. So we have to bring in big corporations, but also retail developers to develop on our platform. So basically, if there are more users attached to our platform, the value of our ecosystem will increase, and that will also translate back to the investors.
Right, exactly. The network effect. So you got to get out there. You got to get people start using it. Now, kind of on a side note, I've heard some people refer to you guys as the EOS of China. What do you think about that being called that? What's your opinions on that?
Sure. So we have heard this comparison more often, and there are some similarities. So let's go into that first. So both projects are free to use. They focus on providing high transactions per second, and they have a parallel architecture with independent applications. So, but there are also significant differences where we feel personally that we have an advantage. So let me give you some examples. Uh, the optimization of blockchain through hardware rather than software. So we have a dedicated HPB server network, whereas EOS is using a universal server. So that's one big difference. And I think the most significant difference is that we support a high number of master nodes, and EOS only has 21, I believe. So therefore, we feel that our platform is more decentralized, more secure, stable, and most importantly, should deliver better performance.
Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned security. What exactly measures are you specifically taking? Because I know recently we've seen 51% attacks. We've seen networks getting overrun. It's been crazy, especially just in this past month. So as for security, perspective, what are you guys doing?
So I think in order to breach our network, you not only have to breach the software part, but you also have to breach a hardware component,
There you go.
which makes it very hard to just breach our network.
Yeah.
So 51% attacks and other types of attacks are very hard to achieve if you actually also have to breach a hardware component.
Yeah, exactly. No, I was just curious because a lot of people are concerned about that lately. It's been a big topic of discussion, security, especially with all these different backdoor entrances and loopholes and buggy codes and everything. So, yeah. Anyway, speaking back on your team, we didn't really talk about the team much, which I wanted to get into. I mean, you have like a Nobel Prize winner on your team. What do you feel about the experience of this team makes you guys the most qualified to really be the leaders in the forefront in what you guys are trying to do with these hardware acceleration, blockchain perspectives that you guys have?
Sure. So yeah, team is definitely an important thing. So you often see, for example, Ethereum has Vitalik, other projects have recognized figures, and I think for HPB, our figures are perhaps less recognized. And I think one of the reasons is from a marketing end, we still have to ramp up our activity. But if you look, for example, at our CEO Wang Xiaoming, he's actually a very well-respected expert in the Chinese blockchain industry. So he has actually published multiple books about distributed ledger technology, and he was also a key player of UnionPay Smart's technical team. We also, our other team members, they also bring in a wealth of experience. So their backgrounds include companies such as Alibaba, eBay, Huawei, NetEase Games, McKinsey, Deloitte. I also think besides our team, our advisors also bring rich experience. So like you just mentioned, Wang Zhongru, he was part of the Nobel Prize winning team. And we also have Kai Long, who is the executive president at UnionPay Smart. Besides that, we're always still open to bring in other advisors who can actually bring in, well, more experience to our team. So we're always looking to expand our team with new and yeah, well, with new expertise, basically. But I think at this current stage, we already have a very strong team to grow our network and challenge all the problems in the blockchain industry at this moment.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the marketing. That's a fact that you have to take note of because your project is very Eastern. It's very, it's from China. So the Western culture, we haven't exactly gotten 100% of what's going on, and a lot of things tend to get lost in translation. So if I could kind of ask you moving forward, what are your plans to really help push this to the West to really market it, outside of doing interviews with me? But, what are you guys doing really?
Sure, very good question. So initially, the team was purely Chinese. So it was very much a very technical team. So they were very great at the technical part of the blockchain side, but not as good on the marketing side. So that's why I've came in, and recently another colleague has came in. He's from Switzerland. He used to work for Deloitte. We also our CMO. She's Chinese, but she is educated in the US. So she studied in Columbia University. She also worked for McKinsey in the past. So it would be the three of us and also other talents. We will push forward the international development of this company on a BD side, but also on a marketing side. So currently, we're also making a new website. We're also thinking of ways to engage our community. So there are a lot of new things that are in the pipeline to be pushed out. So myself and also my colleagues, we have a lot of great ideas that we're currently working on, but we have just recently joined the team. So I understand that the community wants to see more progress, and definitely that will come. That will come, definitely.
Yeah, that's the thing with crypto. It's like we want updates every single day. So I know that's like almost unrealistic, but it's true. Actually, Emma, I got to meet Emma at Consensus, and she was the one that I actually spoke with about setting this interview up with you guys. So that right there shows me that you guys are definitely, trying to promote more, which is really, really good to get it out there, especially for the West as well. So like moving forward, especially now you guys, so you have the chips coming out, the mainnet's happening, you have businesses on board. So that sounds like we have the full package. What can we expect from high performance blockchain moving forward, whether it be short term or, within the next couple of years?
So one thing that we are working hard on now is the incubation space in Thailand. So that's going to be very important for us because we have found that there is also a very big community there. That's one side. We're also looking to expand our reach in the US and Europe. So especially with me being on board and also my colleague from Switzerland, we will be pushing forward on that. And currently, we're actually working on a very big project in the US. It's a very exciting project in the entertainment industry. I would like to tell more about that project at this stage, but I can't. But definitely, I think I expect within 1 or 2 months that we can release more news on that side. As I said, we're also making a new website. We're planning to update our white paper. We're making a one pager. So basically for investors that want to understand our project on a first glance, we're making the one pager, and we're pushing out a bunch of marketing materials that we feel is needed to let the community better understand what we're actually working on and what our vision is going forward for the coming few months and years.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all good on the information. Don't worry. Announcements of announcements of announcements work great in crypto. Just never actually give the news away. Just say it's coming and people will go crazy over it. So that's really awesome. I really appreciate you coming on the channel. Thank you so much. Actually, one quick question. This is a personal question I want to ask you guys. So so high performance blockchain originally. So you guys were GXN, right? GXN. What is the translation? Like, did that get lost in translation? What does that mean? I always wanted to know that.
Sure. It basically came from our Chinese name. So our Chinese name is Xinlian. So Xin basically means an hardware chipset, and Lian basically means chain.
Okay.
So basically, that abbreviation came from the Chinese name. And in order to have a more international character, we actually made it HPB,
Yeah.
high performance blockchain. So our website in the past was gxn.io. At this moment, it's hpb.io. So in that sense, we also have to internationalize. And I think most projects coming from China, they face this problem. So a lot of the projects are quite strong on the technical side, but it's very hard for them to reach the audiences in the West.
I know. And tell me about it. People are so quick to just be like, "That's a scam." They haven't translated the white paper into English. It's a scam. Like, you know what I mean?
Correct.
So it's,
and also, sometimes when you do straight translations, things get lost in the translation. So you have to make sure when you actually push out material that actually a native speaker or someone who's good at English actually creates these material, which is comprehensible for Western audiences, right? I mean, if I would have a Chinese document and translate it straight to English, it doesn't work so well. And I think a lot of Chinese projects have done that in the past. And I think personally, we have also done that in the past. So we're working hard on changing these things and also localizing things more. So we want to involve the community to also push out our material, for example, in French or Spanish or Dutch. So I think in the future, we very much would like to invite the community to work alongside with us, to be part of this big HPB family, helping us to basically let more people basically be part of the HPB network. Because of course, our team by itself cannot push out all the material in all the different languages, but with a big community, we are able to.
absolutely, absolutely. And I stand behind that 100%. I think communities are so important, especially in these early blockchain startups. I mean, everything now, it's such a giant experiment, this whole place right now. And the thing is, you really need that community support. You know, for example, Neo, they have the City of Zion, they have Nell, you know what I mean? And the more developers we can get on board, the more community support we can get on board, the better. So absolutely, Danny. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on the channel. I have to say, you really just nailed it. We got down to the nitty gritty. I know everyone is definitely going to appreciate this. It's been a long time coming. So is there anything you'd like to say kind of before we go? Anything you want to leave us with?
Well, what I would like to address more is basically a lot of people are asking, hey, what is a real world use case of your platform, right? So a lot of people are saying, blockchain is being developed. We have all these projects. What is the real world use case? How are you actually going to disrupt an industry, right? So I think from our perspective, our infrastructure will actually enable the real world adoption of all platforms requiring higher concurrency. So think of things like IoT, think of things like big data, decentralized exchanges, and fintech applications. So an example I would like to think of is a project by Siemens called the Brooklyn's Microgrid Project. So that project actually aims to create a distributed energy supply system where participants of the network are actually empowered to produce and sell their own energy based on IoT-enabled smart contracts. So the only type of blockchain that can actually facilitate such an infrastructure is one that supports many connected devices and high interconnectivity. And I think HPB would be a great candidate to provide such infrastructure and bring IoT applications and technology to the real world.
Yeah, I mean, actually, to expand upon that, what is the feedback that you guys have gotten from these enterprises, these businesses? Do you see that they are concerned for a need for something like this? Is this something that they're looking for with the solution that you guys are providing?
Definitely. So we have had chats with many large Chinese organizations, and they definitely have a need for such technology to support uh, plans that they have in the pipeline. Definitely.
Okay, cool. Because you know, you don't want it to be where you're trying to just constantly convince these people. You know, like you sell. What is it? You you give them the problem and then you sell them the solution or something like that. So you're seeing that there's an actual demand for this out there. So this is something we're going to need down the road. I mean, eventually we're going to hit a wall. These blockchains are not going to be able to support all these dApps, all this throughput. So you're saying eventually we'll almost have no choice but to turn to hardware.
I think definitely, not every project needs high transactions per second, right? I mean, for certain applications, there isn't a need. However, I think if you're talking about IoT or big data or things that basically move around very fast, you definitely need such a solution, in my opinion.
Awesome. Excellent. Thank you, Danny. I really appreciate you coming on the channel, man. So obviously, you know, you guys are welcome back anytime. And yeah, for everyone out there, definitely check out High Performance Blockchain. Although if you've been following the channel for a while, I'm sure you've heard me talk about it plenty of times. So thank you, Danny. Pleasure to have you on.
Well, thank you for having me here. And I also would like to thank everyone for their support. And please keep following us on Twitter, Telegram, and other social media to stay up to date with our project.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, I always do my daily news. I'll see what's going on. If I see anything, I'll definitely make sure everybody knows. So to everybody out there, thank you so much again for coming back to the channel. You guys are awesome. My name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto and peace out.